Hello YouTube, I'm Jack Clark, the Musketeer, coming to you with a deck analysis of Nicolas Petz's WCQ deck that he took all the way to the top 32 at the World Championship qualifier. So you're gonna have to forgive my voice because I've got a bit of a sore throat, but I'm gonna go straight to it. I'm gonna go through the deck list, and because, well, what's on my baby? That's my deck, man. I mean, MCOL40's got his gadgets, Dragon's girl's got her dragons, etc. I've got Watts. They are my babies, and the fact that they've done so well really does make me very happy. And the only person I've seen actually cover this deck has been Mega Capital G, and he has done a very good analysis on it. However, he's based it on assumption, and to his credit, he has assumed very well. He's pretty much got the entire gist of the deck perfect down. But I know how the WCQ deck works and how WCQ decks work, so I'm going to be going through the deck list, going through his choices, and then going through a really in-depth analysis and what I like and dislike about the deck and whatever. So, first off, we're going to go through the deck list. So, we've got 1 Card, 3 Effect Veiler, 2 Shining Angel, 3 WCQ Cobra, 3 WCQ Dragonfly, 1 WCQ Giraffe, and 3 WCQ Hoppers. For the spell cards, he has a Messenger of Peace, Monster Reborn, My Body is a Shield, 1 for 1, 3 Potted Dualities, 1 Recycling Battery, and 2 Shards of Greed. For his trap card lineup, he has 3 Dark Bribe, 2 Fiendish Chain, 1 Mirror Force, 2 Regeki Break, 2 Rivalry Warlords, 1 Solemn Judgment, and 3 The Huge Revolution is over. I'm not going to go through the side deck because you can see it there, and it's pretty self-explanatory, to be fair. But this is a HopperWatt deck. Now, there are generally 2 main different types of WCQ deck. The AggroWatt and the HopperWatt. The AggroWatt forgoes the use of hoppers for a more aggressive build in which, because of the WCQ's abilities to attack directly, they could do more damage per attack and infinitely win much faster with the use of a big back row, which they like to use. So think of it kind of like a stun deck, something like TG, a TG stun, B stun, and all that. It's just they attack directly, protecting itself with the back row. HopperWatt build works differently and is arguably the better of the 2. This top does kind of confirm that, but basically the gist of the HopperWatt deck is you get 2 copies of WCQ Hopper on the field. Now with just 1 copy of the Hopper, your opponent can't attack any WCQ monsters you control, other than itself, and can't target them for card effects. With 2 of them on the field, they protect each other and all the other WCQs you control. So having 2 WCQ Hoppers on the field means that your opponent's really lacking cards that they can actually use to destroy your WCQs and ergo go for game. So the only big cards they will be able to do is their big power cards that they'll ideally want to be using for more intimidating fields, like their Dark Holes, their Torrential Tributes, etc. But of course, WCQ Hopper makes it that moot. And of course, the back row in a HopperWatt deck will be catered to protecting the the lock even. So of course, the triple Dark Bribes and the Huge Revolution is there for those reasons. So I'm going to go through some of the main stuff. So in addition to giving you a kind of a beginner's guide to the HopperWatt deck, I'll be giving you an in-depth analysis. So as in terms of card advantage and draw power, he's got the Shards of Greed and he's got the Card D. I like the 1 copy of Card D. It's quite nice with the back row, I mean. But of course it's not at all necessary. But the draw power is nice. And the Shards of Greed I've always really liked in WCQ, simply because if your opponent, because the WCQ deck, they really do have to focus on their back row. Their back row is integral to a WCQ deck. So using face-up continuous spells is actually a plausible idea, simply because your opponent is going to have to prioritize those MSTs, those Heavy Storms, those Dust Tornadoes, or whatever they're going to use on your back row, on your face down, simply because they don't want to get hit by a Regeki Break, a Fiendish Chain, and they don't want you to be able to protect your lock as efficiently as they would want you to. And in addition to the fact that people are siding their MSTs and even Heavy Storms more than nothing, means that, of course, it has even better ways of just getting the effect of Shard of Greeds, and even the Messenger of Peace, of course, keeping and maintaining them, which is very good. 3 Veilers, of course, Veilers are Veilers, and the 2 Shining Angels, and we've got the 3 WCQ Dragonflies. Now, basically, the entire point of the deck, you need to get the 2 copies of WCQ Hopper on the field, which is surprisingly easy. Of course, Shining Angels allowed you to search for everything in the deck, bar the Card D, allowing you to go for your Dragonflies and allowing you a bit more consistency in trying to get that Hopper. Of course, the Dragonfly, when it's destroyed by either battle or card effects, or in any way really, you summon a WCQ directly from your deck. This is probably the best way, is that you'll summon a WCQ Dragonfly, it will get destroyed, you'll summon a Hopper with it, and then you'll normal summon another Hopper. Generally, the way you'll normal summon the Hopper and get the Hoppers to your hand in the first place is the Watt Cobra. The Watt Cobra, of course, when it attacks directly and inflicts battle damage, you add a Watt from your deck to hand. So in addition to the deck thinning, it's probably one of the better, it's probably the best Watt there. It's their Stratos, really. It's an immediate +1 and can continue to plus. So really, in any Watt deck, your opponent really wants to stop that Cobra, because simply that's how it all pieces it all together. However, in an aggro Watt build, for example, if that were the case, in an aggro build, you'd simply have to just try and stop the Cobra summon, which is very easy. However, in this deck, your priority is the Hopper. So if your opponent stops your Cobra summons with Solemn Judgments and whatever, then that's fine, because otherwise you're going to get the Hopper lock much easier, actually, and of course their life points will go lower, which is even more integral, simply because you'll be doing 1,000 damage per attack at least. So those 2,000 life points they pay will actually benefit you greatly. So now I'm going to go with the things that I don't particularly like about this deck. Now, with a Watt deck, your win condition is to attack directly. In a aggro Watt deck, you do that as fast as you can with back row protecting you. In a Hopper lock deck, you use that with the Hopper lock protecting you. You get your protection first, then you attack. It's a very conservative deck. You don't attack directly unless you can protect yourself and further ensure yourself that you can make more attacks directly later. This deck focuses on protecting the lock when it's out. This deck does not have any kind of setup protection, no stall power, no nothing to protect it whilst it's setting up the lock. Because like I said, you'll be using your Dragonfly, you'll be normal summoning that Hopper. And it's really quite hard. I mean, of course, he's got the Messenger of Peace, but that's only at 1 copy. And he does have some cards like Fiendish Chains that can stop attacks, Mirror Force that can stop attacks, and Rigeki Break that can stop attacks. But he's not using like any Threatening Roars or anything, which is not Threatening Roar is a staple in most Watt decks simply because it can stop and you can get your setup even better for that turn. So having no protection at all really does kind of what? I find it really hard to imagine that. I guess really he was kind of playing. What I really like about the deck though is that his deck it didn't use any cards that didn't go with the win condition or the setup of your win condition. He didn't use even foregoing the use of really good cards. Solemn Warning, does it help you get the Hopper lock out and attack directly? No, so he didn't use Solemn Warning. The same applies to the freaking Heavy Storms, the Dark Holes, the Book of Moons, all of these good cards that Watt's use. I mean, they can use loads of good cards. He's not using Honest, he's not using Sangans, he's not using a lot of really good cards, but he's gotten rid of them so he can use cards that will help put all the pieces together. Which is good in theory, and I guess the theory works simply because with stuff like Rivalry Warlord as well, considering the meta, he was at the World Champion qualifier, so of course very competitive. So he's going up against the best decks. So of course stuff like Rivalry Warlord will hit the best decks right in the balls basically, and of course cripple them. I would have liked to have seen a third copy of Rivalry Warlords if that were the case, really, simply because it would add a kind of another piece of pseudo protection, and it will slow your opponent down considerably. But as it goes, on the face of it, if you just gave me this deck list out of nowhere and didn't tell me it had topped, I would not have liked it. I would have actually been able to say, oh, well, this is what I would change to it. And I may or may not do a deck profile of my own personal Hopperlock build in future. But generally, as it goes, I'm glad that this deck did so well. I mean, the fact that its back row is so catered to the current meta is going to be one of the reasons why it won. And the fact that, of course, no one's going to side for this. I mean, of course, Light Imprisoning Mirrors may help, but no one's going to side against Hoppers. But yeah, so this deck, I'm really glad that it did so well. There's a few problems with it that I really don't like. The lack of protection for the setup really is what really irks me with this deck. But it's nice to see that it did so well. And of course, I'm expecting to see a lot more Watt players. And I think I'm going to play my Watts now at my next local, simply because, well, I hadn't been playing Watts for a little while now, because I've been playing like my Cephalon Sworn and some other fun decks. But my passion for this deck has been reignited. And I shall now go and troll some people. So yes, of course, if you have any thoughts on this deck yourself, please post in the comments down below as a video response. I'd really like to hear from you, because it's a very unorthodox deck. Even if you do know what a Watt deck does, this is really unorthodox. Not even just in the fact that it's a Watt deck. But of course, that's just my opinion. I would love to hear yours, so in the comments down below with a video response, do give me your opinions on it. But of course, if you did like this video, you can like that video if you like. And of course, thank you very much for watching. I'm Jack Clark, the Eager Musketeer. More videos coming out to you soon. But until then, goodbye.